Clash at the Castle in Scotland was a great show, but that's behind us now. We now have to push forward towards the next WWE Premium Live event, which luckily for me and luckily for you is just around the corner because it's Money in the Bank in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And yes, folks, it is pronounced Toronto, not Toronto. There's your quick Canadian lingo lesson of the day, folks. Something that we like to do in this channel is to try and predict the future, mostly to see how right we can be, but more often than not, it's just to see how wrong we ultimately are. So in today's video, we're gonna try and predict the entire Money in the Bank Toronto card before anything is announced. As of the making of this video, not one match has been announced and not even a single Money in the Bank competitor has been announced. We've had a couple say that they want to be in the match, but they haven't been officially inserted into a Money in the Bank match yet. And yes, we are going to look back to see how right or how wrong I was closer to the show. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. Something that I've noticed with the most recent set of WWE Premium Live events is that they kind of refuse to have both sets of women's titles being defended on the same show. In Backlash, we only had the WWE Women's Championship. At King and Queen of the Ring, we only had the Women's World Championship, and then it teeter-tottered right back to the WWE Women's Championship for Clash at the Castle. So my prediction is that for Money in the Bank in Toronto, we are going to have the Women's World Championship being defended by the champion Liv Morgan. However, this needs a lot to progress because right now, when you look at the landscape of feuds for Liv Morgan, she doesn't really have any going on. There is no one that she's feuding with when it comes to being a champion and defending that championship. Her entire storyline and her entire presence on TV right now is a love storyline with Dominic Mysterio. We need our champion to be a fighting champion, and I do firmly believe that we need a match from Liv Morgan defending that world championship at Money in the Bank. However, when I look at the landscape of things, we know that Becky Lynch is in there. We know that Rhea Ripley most likely won't be there. And that really leaves Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky as potential suitors here. But Io Sky is a heel. And I think that Lyra Valkyria makes more sense in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So who the hell does it leave for Liv Morgan to feud with? Well, I'll be honest, it's kind of slim pickings, but we are seeing the slight seeds being planted to maybe a larger feud, not just between the LWO and Judgment Day, which is currently going on, but now Liv Morgan and perhaps Zelina Vega of the LWO. This is the most that I can come up with right now for Liv Morgan. This is just sort of proof as to how slim pickings the Raw Women's division is at the moment. But it does make sense. Liv Morgan is inserting herself into the Judgment Day, may even get inducted into the Judgment Day the way things are going. The Judgment Day is feuding with LWO, so bada bing, bada boom, it just sort of makes sense. I do think that we're overdue for another Zelina Vega attempt at a world championship. It's been over a year when it was Backlash in Puerto Rico that she last got an opportunity at a world championship. So I think it would be nice for her to get another opportunity here. But really, this would be to further evolve the Judgment Day and LWO shenanigans and whatever is going on there. And of course, I'm sure it's in some way, shape, or form going to involve both Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio, and they're going to get involved in this in some capacity. I don't know how, but they're going to get involved. But I do think that this match, or any match for Liv Morgan, is crucial at this event. She cannot go another cycle of a PLE without having a match as a champion. It's just, they can't do that to her. Let's stick with Monday Night Raw for now and look at Damian Priest, who is going to be going into the show as the World Heavyweight Champion, and I do believe that he is going to defend this championship yet again. For him, it is really important to cement his legacy as a world champion, to not be seen as a paper champion. And one of the ways to not be seen as a paper champion is to go into WWE Premium Live events and defend your gold. And I think right now, Damian Priest's starlight is as bright as it's ever been. There is just so much backing for him, not just internally, but for fans, for his great performance at Clash at the Castle. Whether he was injured or not, the fact of the matter is that he put on a great match on one leg, whether he was selling it or not. He was doing it all on one leg. Now, the question is, what do we do here with Damian Priest? He just beat Drew McIntyre, but we're at back-to-back victories where he shouldn't have won, where he probably should have lost. I actually don't think that we need to overthink this one. I think that this can simply just be a rematch against Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm sure Drew McIntyre is going to be livid. He's going to be flipping tables, and Adam Pearce will have no choice but to give Drew McIntyre another championship opportunity because CM Punk impersonated a WWE official as a referee and ruined his chances of becoming a world champion. You really don't need to overthink this one. You have Damian Priest, who is a fighting champion. You have Drew McIntyre, who has all the justification in the world to warrant having another championship match. So just put it together. People want to see these guys go at it again, especially off the heels of how good their match at Clash of the Castle was. Damian Priest has a lot of goodwill with fans right now, and Drew McIntyre is must-watch television with how much he's been screwed over lately. Like, we want to see how this guy is going to interact in a situation where maybe he loses another opportunity at the World Championship. These guys right now are must-see TV, so put them together for another match. People will flock to this. This makes me so happy. Oh, no! Oh! That was a sneak preview of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is exclusively available over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week we're looking at Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, SummerSlam 2002. Abyss versus Sabu in a barbed wire massacre match. The famous Firefly Funhouse match between The Fiend Bray Wyatt and John Cena. The WrestleMania 22 Classic between Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. And the Indie Darling ladder match between Kevin Steen and El Generico. Not only that, but on the Patreon, you get the Raw review, the SmackDown review. You get so much more content. Come check it out. It's patreon.com/SantiZap. It'll be the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. Come try it out, even if it's just for 1 month. I'm confident that you're really gonna like what's over there. Okay, now back to the video. Next up, let's look and see what the WWE Undisputed Champion is gonna be doing on this show, because we know that Cody Rhodes is a fighting champion. He wants to be in the trenches, in the mud, defending that championship, having matches, something that Roman Reigns never did. And I think that that is the entire identity of Cody Rhodes' championship reign, is that he is there to work all day, every day for the WWE, whether it's premium live events, SmackDown, house shows. The WWE Universal Champion is going to be in the house. However, I don't think that he's going to be defending the WWE Undisputed Championship on this PLE. I think that they've set up a pretty decent 6-man tag match that's going to be must-watch TV between Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, who of course everybody loves Randy Orton. Who wouldn't want to see Randy Orton? Did you hear the pop that this man got in Scotland without even having a match, even though for some reason he was already in his wrestling trunks? I don't know why, but Toronto would desperately love to get a chance to see Randy Orton. We haven't seen him in a really long time. And of course, if you're gonna be in Canada, you have to add Kevin Owens to this team. Kevin Owens will be naturally at home, even if he isn't from the Toronto area. Like, Toronto will just embrace him as a Canadian as a whole. And I don't think that this is a shocker. I'm sure you already saw this coming, but this match is indeed going to be against The Weeknd and his backup dancers. It is going to be the pseudo fake tribal chief Solo Sikoa with the right hand man Tama Tonga and the infamous Tonga Loa. I hate saying their entire set of monikers. It's just too damn long, man. It's a tongue twister. But yeah, I think this is an easy one. They set this up at the very end of the AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes I Quit match at Clash at the Castle. We had these guys brawl. I think it just makes sense. Cody Rhodes obviously still has unfinished business with the Bloodline. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton have been fighting this new version of the Bloodline, bootleg Bloodline as Kevin Owens called them, for the better part of 2 months. You might as well blow it off in a giant match at a major PLE with the WWE champion involved. I could see this being the place where Jacob Fatu finally debuts in the WWE. It's possible that this is where he comes to life. Or maybe we get an appearance of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I don't know, maybe. Either way, I do think that this is the start of Cody Rhodes being reintroduced into the Bloodline narrative. I do think that it could end up being the start of Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, something that could get blown off at SummerSlam. This could be the first major domino to set up the rest of the matches for the rest of the summer. If this doesn't end up being a 6-man tag match, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be a little bit surprised. The other other option could be just Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship in a one-on-one match. That is also a very strong possibility that they could go with. But they were able to get away with not having a WWE Championship match at last year's Money in the Bank because there was a World Heavyweight Championship match. Maybe they can do it again in the same type of atmosphere in a tag match where the other world champion isn't defending their championship, but they're still fighting on the show. If you forget what I'm referencing to the World Heavyweight Championship having a match with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, but then the match with the Tribal Chief was like a Bloodline Civil War thing where he didn't defend the title. But yeah, I don't think that you need to overcomplicate this. This is what they're setting up, and I think that this is what they should go with. Now let's look at one of the mid-card titles. I don't think that both mid-card titles are going to be on the line this show. I'm only going to go with one, and in this case, I'm going to go with the United States Championship. And I might surprise you here because many of you are thinking that this is going to be the match for SummerSlam, and they are already setting up this entire feud already in front of us, and I don't think that they're going to drag this out until August. I think they need to pull the trigger on Logan Paul versus LA Knight well before that, and I think that they're going to. Don't get me wrong, I still think they could run Logan Paul versus LA Knight because I'm going to give you an out here because the way that I'm seeing things being set up on SmackDown isn't just Logan Paul versus LA Knight. I think that ends up being a triple threat match where you have to add Carmelo Hayes in there. Carmelo Hayes has been trying to pick the carcass of LA Knight every time he gets an opportunity. He's trying to insert himself into the narrative here. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a triple threat match. And if this is a triple threat match, it gives Logan Paul an easy opportunity to pin Carmelo Hayes so that they can still have the allure of Logan Paul versus LA Knight happening at SummerSlam in front of the home crowd of Logan Paul. A home crowd that I'm sure will still boo the shit out of him. I haven't seen too many people talking about this possibility, but just have it in the back of your head. I have a feeling that this is where WWE is going to take the narrative of Logan Paul and LA Knight. Like I said, I do foresee a longer program between Logan Paul and LA Knight, but just like how they did a triple threat match at King and Queen of the Ring for Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Championship to then eventually set up the one-on-one match between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, I think that they're going to follow the same formula, this time with the United States Championship. Now let's look at the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and for both ladder matches, I've decided to include 6 participants, even though last year the men had 7 and the women had 6, but we're going to go 6 for both. I tried to get a bit unique here by making sure that I didn't have any past Money in the Bank winners. I wanted to make sure that everyone in this match would be a brand new Miss Money in the Bank to really add to the unpredictability of this. I think that you need to start with one of the biggest baby faces right now on Monday Night Raw. If she's not going to be going after Liv Morgan, you should be utilizing her in the Money in the Bank ecosystem because I do think that she'd be great in this match. Next up, I think you have to include Tiffy time. You have to include Tiffany Stratton. She is the one that so many people want to see as Miss Money in the Bank. And not just that, not only would she make a great Miss Money in the Bank, I think that she would be right at home in a ladder match. Out of all of the women that I'm going to list, she's the one that's the most equipped to do all of the super cool scary spots. I think the combination of her athleticism, her ability to do some crazy moves, and the likelihood that she could win the match makes her a great addition to the Miss Money in the Bank ladder match. Since losing the tag championships, I do think that we're going to see Jade Cargill in this. I do think that Jade Cargill would thrive in this ecosystem because she can be a monster in this, destroying people left, right, and center, and she doesn't have to take a traditional loss here either because it's a ladder match. Whether she's a favorite or not, I think that you have to really consider her to be a strong favorite here with how much the WWE is putting behind her. I'm going to go in a bit of a different direction because I think a lot of people were expecting Io Sky here, but because I wanted all potential new Miss Money in the Bank winners, I'm actually going to go with Dakota Kai of Damage Control instead of Io Sky here. I think Io Sky is going to be going through some emotional turbulence in terms of whatever it is that they're doing with her character, where she's crashing out, destroying things to the point where I'm sure it's going to cause her to maybe lose a qualification match and then cause her to snap even more backstage. So instead of going with Io Sky, I'm going to go with another great member of Damage Control, the current mouthpiece of Damage Control in Dakota Kai. I had Jade Cargill on here. You knew that I had to add Bianca Belair as well. I think if you add Bianca Belair, everyone has to consider her a strong favorite, considering out of everything that you can accomplish in the WWE, she's done it all except win a Money in the Bank briefcase. This would be great to her accolades in terms of, you know, another check marked off for her Hall of Fame career. But if you're going to have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair lose the tag titles, it should be to insert them back into the singles main event scene, and putting them both in the Money in the Bank ladder match, I think, is a great step to reintroducing them into the championship picture. And last but almost certainly not least, you didn't think I was gonna leave out Chelsea Green. She is too perfect to include in this match. Just like Tiffany Stratton, a lot of people see Chelsea Green as the quintessential perfect Carmella-like type of Miss Money in the Bank winner, and on top of that, she would be in front of a Canadian crowd that would be so behind her. And because WWE seems to have a pretty good finger on the pulse of what fans want, and then swiftly taking that right from under them, like they did last year with LA Knight and the Money in the Bank match, I have a feeling they are going to do the same thing with Chelsea Green, where she's going to almost win, but then out of nowhere, somebody else is going to come in and steal the victory. Anyways, this isn't a predictions video, but that's how I start to see things playing out. Now let's look at the men's ladder match, and I do think that we have to add main event Jey Uso. He's already called a shot. He says he's going to be in this match. I'm sure he's going to qualify to be in this match, but he has to be your favorite, most likely, to win this entire match as well. I also think that you need to add Ludwig Kaiser as well into this. He's also called a shot on Monday Night Raw, and if you want him to be able to start to differentiate himself from Gunther, he needs to start to enter things like these to demonstrate to the world that he's an amazing singles heel that could be on his own should Gunther part ways with him at any moment. From the SmackDown side of things, I think that you need to add Andrade. I don't think that him being the Speed Champion is really this long-term thing that they could really rally behind when it comes to Andrade El Idolo. You need to give him something a bit more of substance, and I think including him in the Money in the Bank ladder match is a great addition to what to do next with him. We saw him last year in it. I think that he was great in it last year, and the way that he's currently positioned on Friday Night SmackDown, I think that it makes sense for the leader of Legado del Fantasma to be added to this Money in the Bank ladder match, this time as a heel as opposed to the smiling baby face that we had last year. With how much of a role he's been, I think it would be a travesty to not include Braun Breaker on here, because he could create some chaos in this match. Some people would be getting put through multiple ladders if Braun Breaker's in this. But yeah, I think Braun Breaker is a great, first time addition to this ladder match. I think that he adds a unique, versatile moveset to really help differentiate him from the rest of the field, and not only differentiate himself from the rest of the field, but really add to the overall brutality of this match as well. And last but certainly not least, I think you need to include Sami Zayn. It is going to be in Canada, just like Kevin Owens. He's going to get instantly adopted by the Toronto fans. I think that he's going to get a huge pop. I think you should have your Intercontinental Champion on there, and I know that we most likely need to find the next opponent for Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship, most likely to have a match at SummerSlam, and I think he can find his next opponent right here, most likely Braun Breaker. And folks, I'd like to say that that's the end of my match predictions, but I got a little bit of a swerve for you, and it's a bit of a prediction that I think I might include in my actual predictions video when we get closer to Money in the Bank. I think Drew McIntyre wins the World Heavyweight Championship and gets instantly cashed in on by main event Jey Uso, most likely once again because of CM Punk. I don't want to go too much into depth here because this isn't a predictions video, but just have this in the back of your head that Santi's predicting this well before the show even gets properly booked. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your predictions for matches down below, but that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.